Welcome back to another Ret Paladin video. Verabin here. Today we are going to be talking about Ret Paladin burst healing and burst damage. Some people say it's too strong, but I don't believe that it is, so I want to make a case for that. And in the next coming weeks, we do expect to see some more PvP balance that's coming through. So we're hoping that we don't get nerfed too badly, because I believe it could really cripple the spec if it's not handled correctly. So we're going to take a look at some of those things and in comparison to some other classes and stuff like that. So stick around. Let's take a look. All right, so the first thing I'll say is that obviously if you're on this channel, you know what I'm about, and I'm probably a little bit biased in this conversation, but I do think that if you've played a Ret Paladin for any amount of time in Shadowlands, you know that we have some serious weaknesses that I believe are more than made up for with burst healing and burst damage. However, outside of those, we're extremely susceptible to being one-shot from several other classes. Frost Death Knights can do it, Warriors maybe to a lesser extent, Elemental Shaman, Feral Druids, Balance Druids, Rogues, Mages. There's a huge number of classes who can do the same amount of burst damage that we can do, and at the same time, they have incredible tools for survivability that we don't have. So any competent warrior or priest is going to remove our bubble immediately, because if we don't have any cooldowns up and we're getting trained, we're going to have to bubble. So we have this 5-minute cooldown, 3.5 minute if you take Breakable Spirit, but it's still a very easy to kill Ret Paladin. So I think that we have this really, really intense weakness that I believe is balanced out by the fact that we have really strong burst and really strong burst heals. So let's talk about healing for a second. So Ret Paladins have really strong burst healing in Word of Glory. Now this is very reliant on us taking a talent, the Healing Hands talent, that increases the amount of healing received. It's indirectly proportional to the amount of health that you have. So if you have a lot of health, in Word of Glory, it's not going to do a whole lot. If you have a little bit of health, it's going to heal for a lot more. So that's, I think, why it feels so dramatic to get healed by Word of Glory, and why it seems like it's kind of a target to get nerfed, because people see it and they think, it's lay on hands or something. I've had someone say that to me, like, hey, I didn't realize you could use lay on hands in Arena because I got healed for so much, and it's not lay on hands, right? It's just Word of Glory. So while you have wings up and things like that, it's going to obviously heal for more. But I also think that what you have to understand is that it's going to really gut your damage capability by using Word of Glory. Now, obviously, if you're at 10% HP, you should be hitting Word of Glory and not hitting Templar's Verdict / Final Verdict. So you're kind of stupid if you're doing that most of the time. But my point is, it is a really big hit to our burst. We do have things that we can do outside of Templar's Verdict that don't interfere with our burst. So things like Divine Toll, which is obviously a Covenant-only ability, and we have Wake of Ashes, which is another ability. It's 45-second cooldown. So we have a couple big hitting abilities that are not affected by Holy Power, and in fact, those things generate Holy Power. So you can see where it kind of feeds on one another. But anyway, my point is the healing is really, really strong, but I don't think it's any stronger than Shadow Priests or Enhancement Shamans. It just comes in chunks, which can really help fend off in this meta with burst. But keep in mind, most of us are in the 190 to 210 range of item level, and once we get up to 225, 230, HP values are going to be a lot higher. Versatility values are going to be a lot higher, and we're not going to have the same capability that we had to heal through all of that damage, and also we're not going to be doing as much damage. So another piece of this is that I feel like a lot of what gets left out is we talk about burst and we talk about healing, but we don't really talk about utility and how those get balanced between different classes and specs. So when you look at a class like a warrior, an arms warrior, their kit got improved so much from BFA to Shadowlands, and they're kind of a good example of what I think Blizzard thinks a melee kit should look like. And you can see that it's very different from the Ret Paladin kit, right? It's almost completely different in a lot of ways. And they have some things that I would die to have spell reflect, for example. I mean, there's these high, sort of like high skill cap kind of Twitch based kind of things where you have to be really, really smart about how you use it, and it can be really, really devastating. So anyway, my point is, I think utility is another important part of that, and Ret Paladins have a little bit of utility as far as Blessing of Protection and Blessing of Sacrifice. Now, Blessing of Protection can be spell stolen, it can be dispelled, and the same is true with our bubble, and the same is true with Freedom, unless you take Unbound Freedom. But anyway, my point is our burst is really strong and our healing is really strong, but I think our utility could use some work, and I think that there are definitely other classes that can do the same things that we can do, and a lot of the times they can do them better. As you're about to see in this clip, other classes have a really, really strong burst capability as well, and because the meta is so fast, it's easy to get caught up in these one-shots and say, oh, well, Elemental Shaman really need to get nerfed because they can do a one-shot just like Ret Paladins can do, but I'm not sure that that's true. I feel like that we can do a lot of bursts, and I think that's the game we want to play. I don't think we want to play a game, every single game, into Dampen. I think that's going to get really, really boring, and I think Gear will fix a lot of these problems. So I really hope that Blizzard doesn't over-nerf anything, and I think we saw pretty big nerfs to sub-rogues, and we still see sub-rogues being pretty viable in PvP, so hopefully that we don't get over-nerfed. All right, so do I think Ret Paladin should get nerfed? Honestly, I think we probably should get nerfed a little bit. I think that there are a lot of classes, including Ret Paladins, that are a little bit overpowered, that probably need to be tuned down a little bit. That includes burst healing and burst damage. I would hope that it would be traded for a little bit of more sustained damage for us, as in maybe they convert some of our Templar's Verdict damage to a dot, or maybe they give us the Wake of Ashes conduit baseline, something like that. That would allow us to do a little bit more damage, but it would be over a period of time, something like that. But I think as long as the nerfs and buffs are fair with other classes, I think so far in Shadowlands, Blizzard has done that. They've had pretty fair tuning passes and things like that, so I don't expect that they're going to do anything crazy and over nerf us, but if they do, hopefully they'll fix it. But I do think that that's probably going to be a couple weeks before we see anything significant, because the Arena World Championships are coming up, and I can't see them making just huge sweeping changes right before that, because people are practicing their comps and doing all that good stuff. So I think in the next couple weeks we'll see some tuning, and we will adjust accordingly. So I appreciate you guys watching the video. Please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And also, please be sure to follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Verabin, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Yeah.